Hi, welcome to offandonstage.com. Today we are so pleased to have as our guest Michael Hornbuckle. He's a Denver favorite blues man, and after you watch his video, I think he will be one of your favorites too. Hey Michael, thank you for joining us today on offandonstage.com. Michael Hornbuckle, he's famous in Denver and probably around the world, right?
Yep.
Yep. Yay. But he's a Denver native, right? Spent some time in California, but you're back. And why are you back?
Because I missed my mommy. No, seriously, seriously. I started a successful line of nail salons.
Okay.
And our base was in Denver.
Hornbuckle?
Okay,
Cut!
Oh, no, I came back because the guys that I play with are back here, my family's back here, and I felt like California sort of ran its course. And
yeah.
California was great, and I met some great people out there, and had a good experience out there, and it was time to come back.
Well, what even took you out to California? How did you leave Colorado, your home state?
I actually went to California, LA, ironically enough, to slow down, to take a break. And funny as it seems, I actually found some solace out there and some peace of mind. I didn't really have a plan to stay out there. I went out there and I immediately met a girl that always keep you somewhere, just keeps me places, and a good girl. But I had met a fella, his name is Alex Baker. I talk about him all the time, and the circumstances were a little bit too synchronistic or whatever to explain. It was really fun to this band growing up called Mother's Finest, and I ran into this guy Alex, and I knew he was into music, and I knew he was really quiet about what he did, but I knew that he wrote and produced and composed music for Universal Pictures, and I'd been writing songs. I had my acoustic with me out there, so I'd been writing songs, and I knew he was really good at what he did, and I really wanted to entice his ear about the songs I was writing. And I got the opportunity, and along the way I asked him, what have you been doing before this gig? I knew he was in bands and he toured the world and stuff, and they said, well, I was in a band that you probably never heard of, blah, blah, blah. So I stopped him, I said, well, what's the name of the band? And he said, Mother's Finest. Well, it's like my jaw dropped, and first of all, it dropped because they're kind of an obscure band, but they've done really well. They've been around for 40 years, and some of the first songs I learned were Mother's Finest songs. I was playing them with my dad, and the Rain and Baby Love. So I started singing these songs for him. He goes, yeah. And then I said, bullshit, because Alex, this guy's white. Mother's Finest is all black, the brothers and sisters. And I'm in LA, so I figured he's full of shit, and most people are out there, unfortunately. But sure as hell, I get on YouTube and I scroll his name, and it doesn't take long to come up, and he's playing with the band. He's the token white guy on the keyboards, and he wasn't lying to me. He's just really humble about what he. Anyway, so long story short, we hit it off. I played him these songs. He started getting me in on some session work for movie soundtracks, which was a first for me. I got my feet wet doing that. What's some of the names of these comedies? I don't know, like goofy comedies, but they're great, and he does a great job with the music. Route 30. The sequel's called Route 32, right? And then it's like a true. What do you call them?
Route 31.
Well, that's the Route 30 and Route 38, like TOO. You know what I mean? But also too. Anyway, so that's double. Okay. So anyway, I'm on there. That was kind of cool. But we started writing together. I would play these songs for him, and he would say, well, how about this? How about this? And he took this different perspective that I couldn't see. I wasn't experienced enough in his genre. He's sort of pop writing, I guess you would say, and made my songwriting really evolve. So we hit it off writing together. We had a blast. It was really organic, and it happened naturally. And he said, we got to make an album together. And I was, wow, this guy gets a ridiculous amount of money to record one song with somebody, but he did it well, he was very kind with his price. Nothing. So we made an album together, which is Virtue and Vice. So that kept me out in LA. It gave me something to do. It gave me some purpose. And it brought my brother back into the mix too, because we said we needed a bass player. I hadn't played with my brother for years. So my brother packed up his van. Spur of the moment thing. Learned the songs while he was here in Denver. Drove out to LA, and we recorded the album in 2 weeks.
Wow.
And the album it's won some awards. It's won quite a few awards this last year at the best self-produced CD. We go over to the top 100 unsigned artists in Music Connection magazine. That's just off the top of my head, but it was all a lot to attribute to this fella Alex, and I still got a great relationship with him. He was here in town, and we're going to keep the ball rolling.
He came to my house when he was in town, right?
Your memory's probably better than mine, but I'm sure he did.
He played the piano.
Right. He did the Cara has to deal with the walnut.
Yeah.
Right. He was there. Right. Super, ridiculously talented, you know, yeah. So we made the album, and it started doing well. And what I was doing out in California, I had this other gig, aside from music. I sort of didn't want to divert from music anymore, and thought that I wasn't committing enough time to it, and I came back to Denver.
Story, you mentioned your dad and you mentioned your brother, and I know they're both very instrumental in your music life. And when I Googled you, and almost every interview starts out mentioning your dad, Bobby Hornbuckle.
Rightfully so. You know, that's the one primary reason. If Dad was a fireman, I would have been a fireman. If Dad was this and that, I would have been that. But Dad was a musician, and we inherited it. My brother and I worshipped my dad, you know. And my dad was the best around here at what he did. And growing up was, the whole family was musical. My mom was a music major. She was an operatic trained vocalist, which is how my parents met. We had instruments around us our whole life, and then we knew that Dad was special at what he did. And so growing up was really cool. And Brian and I always played. You know, we started out with this heavy metal thing. That's our first love, really. You know, that's what we were doing in these thrash and heavy metal bands. That's great. I still love that stuff. Still love that stuff. Yeah, I had the big double bass kit. My brother had a pink Ibanez bass, and we had the long hair, and I had whiplash so many times from moshing as a kid, like this tall, moshing in the mosh pits, and it was a blast. I freaking loved it. But once I was able to, Dad saw that I could play. He had this idea, because Brian was already playing with them when Brian was a late teenager, so he was already playing. I was about 12. I wasn't yet 13, and my dad said, "Fuck school. Fuck it, really." He said, "You don't need that shit. Come play with me."
It's amazing to hear from a dad.
Yeah, and I got some really good school, and we got to enjoy 3 good years before Dad kicked it. And 3 good years playing together where I know in retrospect, especially as I get older, what he was trying to teach me behind the drums. He beat into my head to keep it simple, to play just the beat. He used to liken it to, he said, "Look, son, we're playing blues. It's about a feeling, it's not about flash." So he used to tell me, he's like, "Picture you're in a hot rod, a badass hot rod." And I can't remember, he said, "Pick your favorite car," or something like that. And I said, "Okay." He said, "Now picture you're cruising it down the road, and everybody is standing on the road looking at you, just stroking your ego. And you can punch it, but you don't. You just cruise. So you can look them all in the eye, you can have a moment with them. You don't want to cut their heads off." And he was tough on me as a kid. He was tough on all his drummers, and then I picked up on that. I'm trying to correct that. But my nickname was Muttonhead, and "Speed up, stupid, play the beat, Muttonhead." Just that type of stuff. And a lot of set breaks, I'd be out back, crying. What the hell? No, it's all good. I'm grateful for the discipline. He didn't discipline me in a lot of other areas that he should have, or could have, or whatever, But I got some good schooling in music that I wouldn't have got otherwise. And I'm really, really grateful for that. And I got to do it with my brother and my dad, and then my brother and I got to carry on this torch. And it's really a cool deal, and I wouldn't change any of it. The people that love my dad in this town, a lot of them loved him to their deaths, you know, and a lot of them still love him, and then pass on the love to my brother and I, which is a big thing I was longing for out in California, is coming back here and feeling that and having that connection with these people that are still around that, you know, make it worth the experience. So off of Virtue and Vice, it's called Remorse. Well, instead of singing at you, well, I'm singing it for you, baby. Just like the night when I met you. 'Cause I love the way you talked. Look at me and make me balk. You made all those feelings so brand new. And then I could tell that you was under my spell. I had you right where I want you to be. 'Cause I tell a joke over your whiskey and coke, and I'm sure, well, I'm sure you're seeing right through me. Right through me, yeah. I didn't mean to be too mean to you and keep you hanging on. Well, long story short, it was hard to believe that you and I would grow so close. You made it seem like it was all just a dream. You're trying to see who sleep the most. But you came afar to find it kinda hard and wake up a prisoner of war. That you were a friend again and again. That you were the hostage I adored, yeah. I didn't mean to be too mean to you and keep you hanging on. But I need to express a remorse. Yes, you guessed I'm sorry, of course. And if I could change it, go back and rearrange it and make everything brand new. It's what I do. It's what I do. But I need to express a remorse. Yes, you guessed I'm sorry, of course. And if I could change it, go back and rearrange it and make everything brand new. It's what I do. Oh, it's what I do.
Well, you talked about when you first started out with your dad, you played the drums, which I'm surprised because I've only known you as a guitarist. How'd that switch happen?
I mean, I was always playing. He got sick. It was kind of a quick process when I was 16, back in '96, whatever it was. And while he was going through this deal, I was, the way I dealt with it was I picked up his guitar and I listened to old recordings of him, and I was picking it up really quick, which gave me a taste in my mouth and made me want to just dive into it. And I sit in my, they call it woodshedding, right? They call it woodshedding when you're in that state of mind and you practice and you come out of that woodshed and you know how to play, because you put in the time and the work. Well, I literally woodshedded. My grandma had a woodshed in her backyard. My dad lived there. I was taking care of my dad, helping to take care of my dad. I'd sit in there with a little joint, back then I just dabbled in pot, and I could sit there and play guitar for 6, 7, 8 hours. And I put in the time, and I did that daily, and I mean, in a matter of months, I wasn't completely polished, but I could play pretty good. A lot of people tell the story that Bobby's soul entered me, I put in the frickin' work, that's not what happened. There might be a piece of that that's true somewhere else, but whatever. I put in the work, and Brian and I mean, Dad kicked it, and then Brian and I had a band together right away, and I was playing guitar, and I was singing. I wasn't singing great, but I knew how to, I practiced so much playing and singing at the same time. I always admired that about my dad and other people that could play and sing at the same time. I really wanted to perfect that as much as I could. I'm still working on it. It's still an ongoing process, but I could do that, and I could play some of these songs that I learned from him. The blues, I could shuffle, and I could play different rhythms, and I was singing. I wasn't singing on key, but I was really working at that too, because that didn't come naturally, and that still doesn't come naturally as the vocal thing,
Could have fooled me.
It's come on a little bit better, but back then, boy, I can't listen to those recordings back then. It's pretty bad.
I'm gonna have to find one and post it.
Yeah. So our first drummer was, I think, a guy named Ron Waters that played with my dad. Ron's like an uncle, right? He used to play in a band with my dad called Locomotive. They were heavy and they were freaking great, doing all this old Zeppelin and just good stuff. That didn't last long, so we met Jeff. Jeff Whiter was our first, I guess, long-term drummer, or he was on our first CD, Pass the Torch. And Jeff Whiter, still with us periodically. He's just been a lifelong brother. I mean, that's been, time flies. I'm 36. It's over 20 years or something like that. 20-something, around 20 years anyway. So.
Is that kind of how you dealt with what was going on with your dad? Yes, that had to be hard.
No, that's exactly. That's what I'm saying. That's exactly how I handled it. Yeah. And it was healthy. It was really healthy.
Yeah.
And and then it became unhealthy. Part of the story, I don't mind talking about it, is that I followed Dad down another path that he would never want me to do, but I did, and I'm grateful I did, because I'm here now, and I've learned a lot. I continue to learn a lot. I'm in recovery. I don't mind saying that. I'm not ashamed about it. I'm pretty, if it makes people uncomfortable, I just don't give a shit anymore. It's my story, and I'm still here, and I shouldn't be here, so what comes out of my mouth sometimes, I just check my motives here and there, but if it makes people uncomfortable, fuck them. I'm sorry. I don't care. And I'm proud that I'm in recovery. And I'm proud that takes precedence even over music. It takes precedence even over my relationships. It takes precedence over everything, because without that, I don't have music. I can't, when I'm out getting loaded, there's one thing I'm focused on and care about, and that's getting loaded and getting more loaded, finding means of getting loaded. So to emerge from that lifestyle and still be able to have these things in my life and have them continue to flourish, I have to talk about it,
Right. It's part of you.
Yeah, and that's kind of been a family tradition. I mean, I come from a long line of drunks, dead drunks. Grandpa checked out as a drunk, Dad did, probably my great-grandfather, great-great-grandfather. I come from a long line of dead people. So I feel really fortunate and grateful that I'm living right now. Like, I can be the one that breaks the cycle, right? And so far, it's a day-to-day thing, but so far that's been my life's purpose.
Right. And you're not just working on your recovery, you're helping other people
and
too.
And that's where the real deal comes in, right?
Yeah. Tell us about that.
Well, I'm trying to get back to that point, because I haven't been flawless at this sobriety thing, but it's been like an upward spiral for me where I'm continue to learn, continue staying humble and accepting and grateful and all that stuff I got to work at that, because I'm a narcissistic freaking egomaniac.
I'm glad you can admit that.
Who isn't?
Not very many people.
Who isn't? I can fake it with the best of them, but really, come on. Except for you, you're not. You're just sweetest of hearts. And what were we talking about again? So
I can't remember.
being a service, right?
Right.
So yeah. So I was out in LA, and I was gonna come back here. I was staying at a sober house, and the sober house manager was fucking around, and he was really shady, and someone needed to step up, so they asked me to step up. It's been the most blessed time in my life up until now, was being able to help people out there. It gave me some longevity and sobriety, and I learned through trial and error, but I was learning, and I got to have an affinity for what I was doing. Didn't really care about all this other ego-stroking music, accolades, whatever, chasing these dreams. I didn't care about that. I was getting to do it as a byproduct of what I was doing out in California. I was getting to record with this guy, Alex. I was getting to make periodic trips back to Denver where I got to play for full theaters, where I was, because I wasn't saturating the market. I was playing it good, and I was following this right path. So I'm doing that back here in a different capacity, in a different avenue. I mean, I told you before this that me and another fella have started a nonprofit. It's called Ultra Music, ALTRU Music, ultra as in altruism, as the act of compassion and empathy. But it can also mean all true music. It's got, there's a third one. It can sound like ultra music. So anyway, that was fun. That was fun coming up with the name. It's all it's all sponsored by recovery establishments and organizations and stuff like that. And all the money goes to, and the festivals that we throw on, and the speakers we get, and the acts that we get paid. But most of the proceeds go to people that can't afford treatment, can't afford sober living, that don't have the resources to deal with their mental illness, because that's what we got. And if you haven't experienced it, if you don't know anybody, which everybody knows someone that deals with this, it's a freaking mental illness. It's not a matter of will control. And people get thrown into jail because they don't know what to do, they don't know where to turn, and the help's not there. And there's people doing hefty sentences in jails and prisons for nonviolent offenses that they're doing out of necessity to support what they have to do to stay sane. So anyway. Well,
how do you help them? What goes on?
We give them grants. It's people. Some people can get into a sober living right away if they're able to detox quick. Some people need the medical detox, so the money can go towards that. Some people need a treatment and rehab, which is a little bit more hefty, which we'll get grant writers from. It's case to case. It depends on what the person needs. I have a calling to do this because I've been fortunate enough to have treatment available to me because I have people in my life that have the means to support it. And a particular person, and has come through for me time and time again. Hasn't done this tough love crap. This hasn't bought into the enabling stuff. If it wasn't for her, I'd be dead.
You can say
I'd be dead. She couldn't live with herself if she knew that she didn't do everything in her power, and I went out and died. She wouldn't be able to live with herself. That's her experience, her philosophy, her theory that she's stuck by because I'm her son. And that's the reason I'm alive and here and still getting a chance, because people didn't write me off. A lot of people wrote me off, but the one person that had the power and that's how she handled it. So anyway, I have to remember that, how lucky and great and blessed I am. Because a lot of people don't have it. They don't have anybody. They don't have family. I watch a lot of these guys on the streets. We would take them into the sober houses, and I gained a lot of respect for when I watched the guy come off the street, and I said, "Look, man, I got a bed. I know you don't have any dough. You got to get a job. You got to chase recovery. Ask us for help when you need it. We'll provide transportation. We'll provide you with these resources, but it's up to you to do the work." And when guys would actually do that, and they had nobody else in their lives or on the outside world, and I would watch them just flourish in recovery, it was like, that's what. What's my excuse? What's my excuse? If these dudes can do it, I can do it. it's just give and take of.
So you're helping them, but they're also helping you.
They used to say in recovery that it's a selfish program, and I always used to get confused about that because some literature teaches us that the root of our problems is self-centeredness and self-seeking. I'm like, well, if selfishness is at the root of my problem, how is this a selfish program? How is being selfish going to serve me? But it's the paradox because what I do for this person, they're actually doing more for me. It's exactly like you just said. And then when you get to experience, it's like, aha, duh. You know, so a lot of people experience this and they just have a natural ability to let that part of life flow. Like I've had to cultivate it, you know.
Well, and some people don't.
I'm a slow learner.
You know.
Yeah.
So kudos to you for recognizing it and keeping
I think
the help going.
no kudos. You know, it's funny. We're the people that want to pat on the back for doing shit that we're supposed to do.
Pat on the back.
I'm not breaking my arm doing that. No. Anyway, so that's that, and we're gonna.
Well, I can
we're gonna
tell
see
it's a passion for you, just like music is. Passion.
That's what I'm saying. Is I get to do both these at the same time. They're intertwining and stuff like that. I'm like, God, I'm alive. I'm so glad I'm alive right now. You know what I mean?
You seem shocked.
Huh?
You seem shocked. Shocked that you're alive.
You betcha. You betcha.
I read somewhere, your friend Lisa actually said that your songs come from your heart. That you write your songs from your heart. What's in that huge heart of yours, Michael? I told you I'd ask you a hard question.
That's so corny.
What?
Not your question, Lisa. Where else are they supposed to come from? I don't know.
Well, a lot of people take it from, their surroundings and, I don't know.
Well, I come from there too. Life's experiences and my surroundings and all the above, they come from there. They come from my head and my heart and dogs.
From Benny?
Cats, beings. Songs, they don't, it's not that deep of a process, really. I'll hear a melody. Sometimes that gives me an idea, or I have a song lyric or line that comes to me and I write a melody around it and then just see if I can, build a song out of it. Sometimes I get ideas from listening to other people. I guess get ideas from listening to a lot of hip-hop guys. A lot of guys that twist their words, like, the guys like Citizen Cope, he's not really a hip-hop guy, but he kind of straddles the fence. Is that the way to put it, straddles the fence? Does that sound sexual? Does that sound like he's screwing the fence? You know what I'm trying to say though, right? He's on the fence.
Yeah.
Jesus, I'm sorry. So I get, like, I'll hear someone twist a line or tell a story a certain way and be like, oh, I can do that.
Well, aren't you going to have a contest in a couple of days where people send in a line and you're going to write?
We did that.
Song? Oh, you already did it.
No, I mean, we got to, no, turn around, face the camera. We got, I can tell you, when Rick DeWitt, and not because he paid me off or anything, but a lot of people gave, like, really, we wanted to have fun with it and keep it light, and Rick DeWitt gave the idea. We did this thing on Facebook for this gig on Saturday at the Walnut Room, where we asked people to submit a song title or song line, just one, and that we would pick one and write a song around it, and then perform it for him. And Rick DeWitt had the idea of short skirts don't hurt. I was like, well, that's no problem. We can rhyme with skirts and flirt and dirt and squirt, whatever, so. Am I here? Mm-hmm. I can play part of it. I don't know.
Yeah.
I see your face. It was no big deal at all. Sunday I seen you go to church. And the same thing you wear to the mall. It was a short skirt. Short skirt. the preacher's head was deep in the dirt, he said, sisters, short skirts don't hurt. This Monday I knew you had on lace, it's underneath your slacks and your shirt. The Tuesday you came home with a raise, 'cause I guess you're doing good work in your short, short skirt. Short, short skirt. Short, short skirt. Short, short skirt. Yo. Even the boss's head was deep in the dirt. He said, sister, short skirts don't hurt. And I can take you back to school, read some history. No, you'd have to be a fool to disagree with me. And it's okay if you wear it to church. And it's okay. Anyway, you get the idea.
Michael, thank you for being with us today.
Anytime.
You have had, and you're only 36. You've had an incredible
somewhere around there.
life. I think you're an inspiration for a lot of people who want to get into the business, and actually for a lot of people who are having some troubles in their life
I hope
and
so.
want to get out. So
Yeah, I hope so.
thank you for helping them.
You got it.
Yeah.
Thanks for having me.
Can you take us out with a song?
You want to hear anything particular?
One of your songs.
You don't know any of my songs, do you?
I don't know.
That's the
the
one.
names. Sorry. I should have done my homework better.
The other day, we were playing at the Fox Theater. That gig with Lionel, we did at the Fox
Yeah.
Theater, and we did on. You know, we were going to do an encore whether they wanted it or not. But you know, I looked down there. It was so awesome seeing my mom. She's sitting at the thing the whole time. She's dancing. She got this big smile on her face. So we come on for the encore, and I said, "Hey, Mom, what do you want to hear?" And she got like a deer in the headlights, and she got tongue-tied, and she knows all my songs. She knows the titles of them, but all of a sudden, put on the spot, she couldn't think of nothing. This is a tearjerker. These days it's hard to be a man's kind of dude. These TV doctors got me in a rude mood. They tell me that I should be in some sort of therapy class for disciplining my kids with my foot up their ass. I don't want to go to jail for a real long time, so I tell the world how I feel now. Be a sensitive guy.